I am speaking with a lady called Nancy Badillo. Her life and story, it's really quite inspiring. She's mom of a beautiful little boy. Her husband recently had brain surgery while she worked tirelessly to support her family. And I believe in March this year, Nancy also left her full-time job so she could focus full-time on her once side hustle, which is selling on Etsy. She first started her Etsy shop in late 2016 because she wanted to write a case study for her blog, making handmade items and selling them on eBay. Now, to date, she has 6 Etsy shops and she loves making passive income with it. So we're going to be talking about how to make money selling digital products, staying positive in the midst of a storm, and how Nancy lost her job, but she still managed to make 26K in 30 days, which is pretty incredible. So I'm very interested into delving into that and finding out how she did that, amongst any other things, if we decide we want to talk about them. So welcome to the podcast today, Nancy.
Oh, thank you, Zoe. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
It's pretty early over here where I'm at, but I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
What time is it where you are right now?
It's 8 o'clock. And
It's
even though
8.
for some people that's not that early, but I go to sleep really late because I stay up late working. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why I say it's early for me.
Well, thank you. So no, that is pretty early. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I just wanted to say that today because I know you're pretty busy.
Of
So thank you
course.
for taking the time out today and for accommodating us on our times over here because I know we're on quite opposite time zones. First of all, let's talk about how to stay positive in the midst of a storm because I think given what's been happening of late, life is always going to throw us like curveballs, and learning how to deal with this
Hmm.
is crucial, really, if we're going to stay focused and motivated. So what would be kind of your 3 tips, really?
Staying motivated can be very difficult, like you just said, especially when you get thrown so many obstacles or things just happen, especially with what has happened with my husband. I think what has helped me a lot is just to have a good perspective in life. I always think, it could be a lot worse.
Can you
And mhm.
can you tell us a little bit about your story about what's kind of happened with recently, on your kind of journey with your husband and leaving work, and just give us
Yeah,
a
of
little bit of a
course.
background into that as well. I should have
Of
maybe
course.
asked this first.
Oh, no, you're fine. So I've been in the digital space for 11 years.
Mm,
I never had the overnight success like other people have. It has taken me years to make money online. I think the first time I made money was like 6 years in. Before that, I would make like a penny, $1 here, $2 there. And that was enough to keep me like intrigued on how to make money online.
mm.
Um, but to be quite honest, it took me a while to make money online. And
Can I just say one thing? Has anyone
Mhm.
had overnight success selling money online? Because it's a long game.
It is, yeah. And I think a lot of people want instant gratification.
Mm,
And, it might happen for a person here and there once in a while. But even those people, what I have learned is that they've taken a lot of coaching. They have a lot of mentors. They have gotten faster there because they had the right tools. And
yeah.
when I first started, to be quite honest, I fell into it because it was 2007, the market crash. And
Mm,
in 2009, I had a home. I lost my home. And
mm,
I heard of people making money online and I was curious. So I started researching it, and then I kind of like started enjoying learning about it. But I didn't have money for courses. I didn't have money for mentoring. Back then, they didn't have that many courses in 2009 like they do now in 2020.
mm, mm,
So to be quite honest, for me, I think another reason why it took me long is because I was all over the place. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I didn't have a product. And instead of niching down, I was like, 1 minute I'm talking about affiliate marketing. The next minute I'm learning about blogging. The next minute I'm learning about social media. The next minute I'm learning about creating a website and flipping it. So I was all over the place, but I'm thankful for those experiences because that gave me a general idea of how to do so many things. I just don't specialize in one area. I know so many things now, but it did take me a long time. And to kind of like fast forward, in 2016 or 2014, I got engaged, and someone told me, "Hey, by the way, you should go to Etsy. They sell handmade items for weddings and other things." And I've never heard of them before. So I remember going to Etsy, shopping, and I was like, because I was already a digital marketer, my brain went to, wow, these people make a lot of money. Some were making good money of passive income, which is digital products. And I was like, my brain was like, how can I do the same again? Like with my other fields like affiliate marketing, etc. So I, like you mentioned, Zoe, I opened my first case study. I really didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a do-it-yourself crafty girl. I don't create stuff. I don't knit. I've never created a t-shirt. I've never done anything handmade. So when I first started, to be quite honest, I opened Word document. I type in a quote. I was doing quotes. So I put in like a quote, Taylor Swift, shake it off. Put that quote, saved it, uploaded it to Etsy and sold it as a print. Because I didn't know how to use Canva, Photoshop. I didn't know anything about these programs that you could use to create, any sort of digital product. Or I didn't buy licensing to graphics because I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's kind of how I started. And my first year, I made a little bit over 21,000 as a side hustle while still having my full-time job.
Well,
And
that's not a bad side hustle in your first year.
exactly. And I made a lot of mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't, because the first 6 months, I had up to 1,000 products or 1,000 listings. And then about 6 months in, I started getting infringement notices. People were reporting me. And I didn't know about intellectual property. I didn't know about, you can't use a quote. Now I know a quote from a movie or a quote from a song. So I had to restart my whole store again 6 months in. I took all the listings down. And the reason why I thought it was okay is because I saw everyone else doing it on Etsy. I saw so many people selling it. I'm like, oh, I could do that, because I didn't know how to draw or anything. So I was like, I could do quotes. That's easy. But what I didn't know was that what I didn't know about myself was I know how to market myself. And because I was getting viewed everywhere, I was getting those infringement notices too. So I restarted my whole store, and I went into the wedding space.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting. Did you
No,
have
you're fine.
so when you first started on your Etsy, because I had a look through your Instagram today, and, I was enthralled with a lot of stuff, but I was going over to your YouTube. But you've got a good following on there. And I think for any business and for any person wanting to set up a business, building a platform on social media is crucial. I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday, because we were saying, like we were saying we really need to grow our Instagram following, when you're wanting to sell products and stuff like that. Did you you say you were good at marketing yourself? Did you have a good Instagram following? Were you positioned quite well on social media when you started your Etsy, or has it
It has
grown since
developed
then?
more. It has developed more because, like I was saying in the beginning, I was pretty much all over the place. So I didn't have a target audience. I was talking about too many subjects, and I was competing with big people like Neil Patel, Pat Flynn, Gary Vee, people that are way bigger than me. So when I did my Etsy store and I did really well that first year, one thing I noticed was that there weren't that many Etsy coaches. Now there's tons. But when like 4 years ago, I mean, maybe five, I don't even know. There wasn't that many. And none were giving, well, some were, but not as much value. Like I couldn't find information. I was trying to learn everything I to know about Etsy. And it was really hard because there weren't that many people. So after that first year that I had success, I told myself, okay, instead of being all over the place, talking about so many different topics, let me change my whole blog, my whole social media, everything to an Etsy coach and helping small business owners, because I love that topic. That's when I went from being all over the place to really specializing as an Etsy coach and making sure that all my content, I still talk about blogging and branding, but it's towards small business and Etsy sellers. That's when kind of like everything kind of started taking, like growing. Because once you establish yourself in a specific niche, and you become like an industry leader in that niche and you provide a lot of value, everything else comes. The following come, you start getting momentum. Now, I'm still a small YouTuber. For so many people, that would be big. For other people, they're like, oh, you're still small. But I'm proud of it because Etsy is very niche and it's a very small community. Like if you become an Instagram YouTuber, you got so much more, to so much of a pool, right? But
Yeah.
Etsy is so much smaller, so the growth that I actually have is actually pretty good for the niche that I'm in, which is very micro niche. But that's when everything kind of changed for me, when I said, okay, I'm going to do content and put myself as an expert in Etsy. And that was probably the best thing I could have done for my career. That's kind of how everything started growing. I started developing like a following of loyal people. Before, some people follow me, some people commented, some people didn't. I had a little bit of following already because I already kind of knew how to market myself,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like the people were really engaged, and that's because I was all over the place. And the reason why, even now, I have a large following, but I get very little likes and very little engagement sometimes on my photos, is because a big percentage of those people are were following me before I
Before.
did anything.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the future I'll get more likes and more engagement. I'll keep continue growing. Now in my YouTube channel, it's always been just Etsy because I started my YouTube channel with the Etsy once I switched over.
Mm.
So that's very engaged because it's everyone in there is Etsy related or small business. It wasn't like I talked about other stuff before and then I switched it over. So,
Mm.
and
I
that's
think
kind of how like the journey started with everything.
I think that's a really important message there to niche.
Hmm.
I say niche. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it.
I think you're saying it right because I always get confused.
I
I'm like, is
don't
it
know.
niche or niche? Because
I
I hear
think
more people
you,
say niche. So I think you're right.
I don't
Yes.
know. I think we're both right.
Okay, thank you.
Important message there in terms of like niching down with
Yes.
with your audience, you know. And I know, I mean, it's something that, you know, I've known that I should do for years and years and years,
You,
ever since I started coaching, like back in 2005 when I
you just
qualified.
tapped into something that I was
But
about to say.
you know exactly what you're saying about, you were talking about this and that. I'm just thinking about, again, and maybe in many ways what I do, and I'm all over the place as well. And I think it's not only me, there's probably a lot of people who are listening to this podcast
Yes.
who are exactly the same. And when you were talking then, what I was thinking was, so what happens if, like, for instance, you've got like two businesses, you know, which a lot of entrepreneurs do have these
Mm-hmm.
days.
A lot of times we give other people advice, like we'll say, oh, you want to start a business, niche down, you need to be focused on
Mm,
one thing, but then we never do it ourselves. Because I remember even back in the day, I knew this. I would write articles about you need to
yeah.
niche down, the importance of niching down, and I never took that same advice myself. I don't know why. And I thought in my mind, well, you know, if I talk about different topics and the broader I go, the more people I will reach.
Mm,
But it actually is kind of like the opposite, because what happens is if you niche down and you become an expert in a specific niche, you'll start getting traffic from everywhere. Like Google will syndicate traffic. Like I checked the other day, I did a post, it was about maybe a month ago. On YouTube alone, I get 220,000 monthly searches, even though I don't get that many those views. You know, hopefully one day I will. Um, I get about 220,000 monthly searches for
mm,
when people type in Etsy.
mm,
YouTube recommends me for Etsy. But the reason why Google does or YouTube does that, and even Google does that, is because I have put out so much content about Etsy from my blog, from podcasting, from all these different social media platforms. that now when people type in the word Etsy, it syndicates traffic. Like it sends me traffic. It says, oh, you want to learn about traffic? Check out this YouTube video. Check out this blog here from Nancy Badillo. Check out this, check out that. So when you look at it in that sense, it is better to niche down, because if you're all over the place, Google won't know what's your
Yeah.
specialty and you won't get that additional drive. And it's almost like if you type in today motivational speaker on Google, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Tony Robbins come up, right? You didn't type in Tony Robbins. It's recommending you that because he has authority in that niche and is recognizing he's a motivational speaker. You might like him. So
Mm.
essentially, that's what you want. And what I say all the time, Gary Vee said this, and I love Gary Vee. He says, you first niche down, and it's so true. You niche down, you build your brand around that. And later on, if you want to start adding other elements of other businesses that you have, then it'll be okay because you won't lose your following. You already have a following, you already established yourself. And if you want to start adding, like I want to do personal development, I want to be a transformational coach, I want to be in tech talk. So I already started like personal development videos. I haven't done that many. I put some here and there on my YouTube, and those do get a little bit less views. But I could do that now because I kind of have a little bit of not established like an expert, but I kind of established some type of um, loyalty with my fan. But in the
100%.
beginning, if I would have
Mm.
been like Exy one day, motivational speaker the next day, video, then the third day I talk about losing weight, because that's one thing that I really want to focus on, losing weight, mental health. If I start like mixing it up, I'm going to start losing people because
Mm.
they're going to be like, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for Xy. I don't want to hear about your weight loss. But if I do that now once in a while and I start introducing it, or I start telling my audience, hey guys, I'm going to be adding more videos about affiliate marketing, or I'm going to be adding more videos about personal development because as an Etsy seller is so important. If I start adding those now, I'm not going to lose my audience as much as if I would have done it in the beginning.
Mm.
Um, I'm not against like having two businesses. I just feel like it's so hard to build one business. It is so mentally hard to build one business, be all over, like, especially if you're a solopreneur, like you're doing everything yourself. So you have to create your content, you have to share it, you have to connect with your audience, you have to market yourself, you still have to find time to do blogging, find time to do interviews or other things that are going to get you more exposure. It's so hard to do that with one brand. Doing two brands or doing another business on the side, it will really burn you out. And not many people could do more than one, in my opinion. A lot of people do it, but what happens is that something falls out, like something is not going to get 100% attention.
Yeah.
But I think if you could kind of merge it
Mm.
into what you're already doing, and it's kind of related, I think that actually works pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what you're saying about the motivational speaking and to your existing
Yes.
content, I think it's a natural progression because you've proved yourself in the Etsy space. You've proved yourself, on what you can do. So you're qualified to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's talk a little bit about about your journey and how you got here,
Of
because I
course.
know it was quite recently you were working full time,
Yes.
and I know
Yes.
your husband's had surgery recently, so I assume that's put a lot of the responsibility on you to be the main breadwinner, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's just kind of talk a little bit about your journey, if that's okay.
Of course. So fast forward, I started the Etsy store. I did really good the first year. Then I started kind of weaving into, okay, I'm going to do videos. I'm going to switch my whole niche. I did that. And in 2018, April, I gave birth to my son and Jordan. And then I want to say maybe like September, October of that same year, my husband started getting headaches. And at first I thought, we're new parents. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what day of the week is. We're, hangover. We're tired. I mean, we were doing everything wrong with the baby. We sleeping with the baby because the baby won't sleep. I mean, it was just really bad. And my husband is the opposite of me. He's healthy, has a six pack, even though he's like 41. He'll be 41 next week. He's he works out on a consistent basis. I used to work out on a consistent basis before. Even now, I still do. I just need to work on my eating. But he's really healthy. That's what I'm trying to say. Overall, he's the healthiest one out of both of us.
Yeah.
So I just thought, okay, you're getting headaches because you're not sleeping, you're not going for your runs, you're not taking extra naps like he normally does. There's no more nap time after a baby. So I was like, that's probably why. But then they started escalating. It went from a couple headaches here and there to like 3 headaches a day, sharp pain. So he went to the doctor. Like he started going to the doctor like November, I think. He started getting all these different exams. They couldn't figure out why. Eventually, they did like MRI and all that stuff, and they said that his brain was swollen. So the part of the back right here, on the back of his head, was hitting the cranial bone, and that was causing the pain that he was feeling, like the sharp pain, the sharp headaches. So what they told us is we can't tell you whether he has cancer or what it is until we go in there. But what we do need to do is cut off a little bit of the brain in that area to give it space to breathe, because the brain floats in your head and it shouldn't touch your bone, basically. And if it does, then that causes like issues like headaches and stuff like that. And they're really aggravated because he'll be holding the baby and out of nowhere, he's like, here, hold the baby, because it hurts him so bad.
Yeah.
So he went in on February. By February, we already had a plan of all the things that they were going to do. In April of 2019, they operated him. They did a pathology test. We had to wait like 6 weeks for that. But they operated him. They removed a little bit of his scar from his back. It's like really, really big. It's like almost a whole back. He has a huge scar. So it was a very intensive operation. They removed some of the skin. They removed some of the bone. The headaches went away. But with that came other issues. Couldn't barely walk. Lost speech. Couldn't slur, a lot of slur words. Couldn't write. He does a lot of journaling. He was writing like like a 2-year-old. Couldn't barely write his name. Mobility, like walking, was really hard because the brain controls everything.
Yeah.
Oh, as you probably know. So everything was affected. He had to do physical therapy. It was like the first month was like, oh my God, it was just so much, because now I am working my full-time job from home. They did let me stay at home, which was really nice of my company. I'm still doing my side hustle. I'm still doing my YouTube, my blogging, my 6 stores, my groups, my all this stuff I do. I have a toddler, so that's hard enough as it is. And then also having to take care of my husband and 2 dogs and kind of like manage all of that. And then the pathology test came back and they said he has a tumor in his brain. So he started like in the first week of May, like 6 weeks after his operation, he started chemotherapy and radiation. Radiation was first. That was really hard on him. He's already, he's 5'10", very slim. So he lost weight, and on him, it looks a lot. 5 pounds on me, you can't tell. 5 pounds on him, you could tell. So he lost, like, I think the first week, like maybe 11 pounds or something from throwing up so much. It's just really bad experience for him with the radiation. The chemo, he did better than the radiation. So then the first month he took radiation, and after that he took chemo. He did that for a whole year to May of 2020 this year. He couldn't work. So obviously, like you mentioned, Zoe, I was the one working my full-time job. Thank God for them that they let me work from home, and then doing my side hustle as well. And in the midst of all that, in May, they did exam. In May of this year, they did exam. The tumor is normal now. Unfortunately, the area that he has this tumor, they can't remove it completely, because if they would have done that in the operation, he could have died. So they took out as much of the tumor possible, but he still has cancerous tumor in his brain, and it will stay there forever. But as long as the tumor doesn't grow and is stable, and it doesn't go down his spinal cavity or doesn't show any action, he's fine. So he has to go every 3 months to get a checkup. Now he's doing really well. He's healthy. He just came back from a run right before
Okay.
I connected with you. So it has been,
So
um,
he's running, that's positive.
yes. The
Mm,
good thing about my husband, especially me, I think that we both don't really panic when things happen.
mm,
He's he has a stronger faith base than I do. He's very calm. He's a Libra, maybe that's why, but very positive. Even through the midst of everything, I can't tell you, like, I have the best husband in the world. Even him being sick, even throwing up, even through all that, he's still trying to help me, not only with my career, but with my son. He never took that opportunity to say, I don't got time for you guys, or I'm miserable, or I'm upset,
mm.
or I'm mad. Like, he never did that. And I admire him for that. He's like the best husband and the best
Oh.
dad ever. And
Oh.
it is like, I don't
You're
say
getting
that
all
just to say that.
emotional.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's
bless.
emotional for me because, Zoe, as an entrepreneur, and I know that you mentioned, you're not married yet, but a lot of people that I talk to that have spouses, whether it's the female or male, they're not supportive in that person's career. And he's been supportive even after doing this for like years of sacrifice, like not hanging out, not going movie night, not let's go have a late dinner. I'm like coming from my full-time job to come home to work 6 hours extra, but I'm not getting paid for nothing because I'm making so many mistakes and learning and
Mm,
failure and this and that.
mm.
So for someone to stick with you that long,
It sounds like he's always believed in you,
yes, thank you.
which is fantastic. Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a great one there. Definitely, it's wonderful
Yes.
to have that support.
It makes a
Um,
huge difference.
yeah, I can imagine. Oh God, I'd love to have a partner who you could kind of build an empire with. Someone who
Yes.
could support you and who's on the same wavelength.
And
Um,
I used to say, Zoe, like, oh, I'm doing this by myself because I'm very self-motivated. I'm one of those people, I don't think. I just do, and then I deal with the subsequences later. Like, if I fail, I fail. If I win, I win. I always been like one of those people. I don't overthink stuff, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
mm,
And I used to say, oh, people will ask me, how you doing all this stuff? You do so much. And I always took all of it. Like I say, oh, it's me. I'm motivated. I don't la 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 la. And then in February, his grandma had passed away. So he wanted to go. He's from Georgia. So he went to Georgia. And those 4 days that it was me and my son by myself, it hit me. I only could do everything I do because of my husband.
yeah,
Because I was so tired. I remember putting him down to bed and I was sitting on
yeah,
the couch. I'm like, okay, I only could do 3 hours. I can't stay up late because I can't sleep in because somebody got to get the baby. I'm like,
mhm,
oh my God, I can't do this by myself. So that's when I really realized that the support that he might not support me in the sense like he did my YouTube or editing or this,
mm,
but he does so much more in the house and with our son that it does free up a lot more time for me.
yeah,
And that many other men or women, right, wouldn't necessarily do for their spouses, especially if they're not bringing any money
yeah,
for many years, so I'm
yeah,
very lucky.
yeah,
But those, the last year has been a testament of like, whew, you gotta like pull when you don't have no energy, when you're mentally drained, when you don't know what's gonna happen. You have the fear that, he might pass away, all these things creep in your head, and just having to stay somewhat, stable because you still have a son, you still have a regular job. And I did want to mention my job in March. I was already working on my second course. My first course was a flop. Like, I didn't do that great with it. And I understand now all the mistakes I made. I wasn't like marketing myself correctly. I wasn't being pushy, to be honest. I hate being
mm,
pushy and being a salesperson. And you kind of have to be a little bit. I'm not saying you have
mm.
to go crazy, but you do have to. You can't send one email and then expect to get 80,000
Wow.
people to join.
I mean, I worked in sales for 10 years. I was an ex-social worker, child protection social worker
Okay.
in the UK. And then I moved out to Dubai and I got a job in sales and I surprisingly did amazingly well. And one thing I remember for that, you just can't be shy about, don't be shy about asking for business, and also
Exactly.
picking up the phone as well. You know,
Yes.
you've heard of that saying, eat that frog, by Brian Tracy. I think he coined the term. To eat that frog is, you know, you're doing, do the, do the thing, do the one thing first thing on a morning that you know, that you don't want to put off. You know, like for
Oh,
me
I agree with
it
that.
was picking up the phone. You know, the first thing that you
Ah,
don't want to do, like the thing that you normally put off and
yeah,
then
I
just
like
never
that.
gets done. So I would just pick up that phone. I'd go to the office and I'd
Uh-huh.
spend the first hour on the phone, and I was speaking, I don't know what, how, if this kind of works in relation to your business. I was speaking to my friend about this a couple of days ago, is that these days everything is done via WhatsApp, it's done via email. No one picks up that phone. And I
No.
think when you're selling and you're building relationships up, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be pertinent to you and what you do, but I think just picking up that phone and making the connections, and, you know, like when you get leads and stuff like that, it's all important when it comes to selling.
Yeah, it is. I think like for my own business, it might be beneficial too. I know I did that. I did that last year because when I first did my first course in, I think it was October 2019,
Mm,
I had taken a course on how to create a course, basically. And
mm,
one of the things was creating um, a list of questions that you send a customer, you make an appointment with them, and you try to sell them over the phone. And the reason why she put that in her course was to kind of break the ice of talking to people. I
mm,
think we live in a lot of people. I realized this myself too. I'm an introvert, and even the act of talking to someone cringes me. Like I feel like anxiety a little bit, even though if I have to do it, I'll do it because I'm also like very if I have to do something, I just do it. But
mm,
even with my YouTube channel, if you go back like a year and a half ago, like the first, I want to say the first 2 years, I never put my picture in the thumbnail. I never recorded my face. It was all screen recording. The videos were horrible because I didn't know what I was doing either. I knew
mm,
what I was talking about, just the
yeah.
video recording and all that. I was not used to it. So this year I told myself, okay, if I'm going to get people to like me, trust me, buy from me, even though people already kind of knew me, I need to get my face out there. I need to do more pictures of
100%.
me. I need to do more live videos. I need to do, and that took so much out of me to do that. When I did that, now in every video, I do an introduction of myself first, and then I do the screen recording. Before that, I never did that. So I
Mm,
always tell people, start where you at, and then you'll get better as you go, and you'll get more confident. Don't just freeze and say I'm not going to do it, because I'm glad that even though I didn't have the courage to do face videos of myself on YouTube, I'm glad I started it and then eventually worked myself up to it. But
mm,
I did a lot of mistakes before. Like you said, I wasn't pushing myself a lot in the sales. I was too timid. I had a large email list because I was building it already, but I never did anything with it. That was the problem,
mm,
because I was too scared to sell, or they're not going to buy. Even to the point that I self-sabotage myself. We all do it.
mm,
Sometimes you notice it, sometimes you don't notice it. But I remember I'm going to create a course about Etsy and making digital products. I started creating the course, and then I told myself, I don't know why, no one's going to buy this from me. So I did a mini course. There's 18 videos. It's not even a mini course, but you know, I
mm.
did 18 videos and I put it on my YouTube channel for free,
Wow.
because
Wow.
I shortchanged myself again. Yeah,
Exactly. You
because I
didn't
told
believe in
myself
yourself.
no one's gonna buy this. I'll just put it there, build more credibility, build my channel, and hopefully later I'll do something.
Mm,
So that helped me get more views, of course, and get more loyal followers. But
mm,
we do self sabotage ourselves. So
100%.
then I was like, you know what? A lot of people are responding to these videos really well. So I decided, instead of 18 videos, let me do like a real course, like the whole thing, like from beginning to scratch. So I started working on that. And it happened to be that the pandemic came, right? And by March 10th, my course was ready. And I was like, okay, I'm going to launch it today. I didn't have no plan. I never have plans, which is, I need to organize myself more. But I was
Mm,
like, I'm going to go ahead and launch it and go for it. March 10th, I launched it. March 24th, my company I work for, I was working at a digital agency company doing digital marketing. I worked there
Mm,
for 4 years and 5 months. So this year would have been 5 months in November. 5 years, excuse me. So they call me, they're like, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. And I didn't panic. I didn't have anxiety when that happened. I already had a little bit of money saved because of my husband, everything that was going on.
mm.
I was practical in that sense that I started saving money. So I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of money saved. We're
And
good.
you were the only person bringing an income in at that time.
Yes, uh-huh. And I was like, okay. I had to switch my mindset from, okay, I got to stop being unproductive in the sense that I'm doing all these things, but not really being productive.
Mm,
And like you said with that, the gentleman that wrote that book, you said about doing one thing every day. I do three things every day, and I always tell these to everyone. I think I subconsciously got this from some book, but I don't remember what book. I'm sure I got it from some book. So I do three things every day that's going to propel my business. I do three things every day that's going to propel my mental health. The three things I need to do. If I do extra for the day, that's a bonus. I stopped with the to-do list. I used to do a to-do list of 50 things, and if I did 48, I still felt like I didn't do enough. So I stopped that. So now I have the three things that I need to do every day, which is add a new course to the video, because I'm still finishing my course. Add a new video to the course. Um, do my YouTube channel, because that's important, because that gives me a lot of visibility, and then work on social media. Those are the three things I do every day. Everything else is a bonus if I could get to it. Um, so I told myself in March, okay, I got to take this serious now because I'm laid off. This is March 24th. I'm laid off now. There's no more like security of my, I was making money, but good money, but I'm like, there's no more security there. So in 1 month, because I switched my mindset, I had I happened to already have my course done, which was perfect timing. It wasn't even planned that way because I didn't know I was going to get laid off. And I just pushed it out, and I just started promoting it, like with my face, talking, doing live, doing videos, emailing. I learned about email sequencing. I never had an email sequence.
mm,
11 years, never did it
And you
because
had
I
this big email list, but you never utilized it.
no, I would send them like, oh, I have a new video. Everything was free, but I would never promote any services. For 2 years, I built my brand and never really promoted. I would still get sales. I do critiques and stuff like that, but I never pushed anything to no one because, like, again, you self-sabotage yourself. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like no one's going to really buy from you, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward 1 month in, I made 26,000.
Wow.
And look at how crazy your brain and your self-sabotaging is. 1 month later, exactly, April 24 exactly, my company called me. And they were like, oh, we got the small business loan approved. And I'm not going to say I was the best employer, but I was the best employer in the sense of I give a lot of respect. I go out of my way. I'm very polite. And I think I admire that about myself, that I have learned to become that way. I was never that way either in the past. But I think they love me because of that, most
Mm,
of all. So they wanted to rehire me, and I felt special that they picked me back, because
mm,
they didn't pick everyone. And I had panic that month when they called me back. I had more panic than when they let me go. And I was telling my husband,
It was like,
you
should I
think I
go
should go
back?
back? Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll do another month because I don't know if next month I'm going to make money. And I'm like, maybe I'll do another month, or maybe I'll just do both. And I had to like stop my own self and think and say to
Mm.
myself, if this was my son or someone else telling me, Mom, I made 26,000 in 30 days. Do you think I should go back to my job? I would tell them, no, what you talking about? You just made half of what you make a year at your job. Why would you go back? Like, why not pursue this more? And I kind of had to talk myself into it. And I had to tell them, you know what? I did so well. I'm just going to pursue this for the first time full time.
Mm.
And ever since, I'm a 6-figure seller now on my course. And it was like the best decision ever, even though at that moment I had so much anxiety because there's so much uncertainty with a business, with my husband's health, with so many things that you just self-sabotage yourself. You really do.
That's incredible. And it's so interesting how things happen which we think are devastating. Well, I know you said you dealt with it with calm, and it sounds
I
like
don't even know how.
you just went all in. But you know, you probably would not be where you are right now if they hadn't have let you go, and also if you weren't brave enough just to say, right, because it was only 1 month in, and it could have been, like you say, you could have thought, oh, was it just a lucky month? You know, do you know? And you could have
Yes.
quite easily just gone back, but you know, you had that self-belief. And yeah, self-sabotage is just it's just a crazy, you know, we all do it.
Oh my God, yes.
And it's interesting because obviously from an outsider, I go onto your Instagram today and I'm looking at your videos, and I'm thinking you come across fantastically.
Oh,
And,
thank
you
you.
know, especially in video content, for a start, you've got a beautiful voice and you've got a beautiful face as well. So you need to get it out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised, especially online. It's hard. You know, I don't say this to discourage anyone. I say this because this is my truth. But, you know, I appreciate you, Zoe, for what you just said about my accent. But it can be intimidating because you start comparing yourself to other people that are skinnier or prettier, or they sound more intelligent than you, or they're more articulate, or they don't have an accent. And I get a lot of love from my followers, and I'm so, so thankful. But you'll get 99 people that love you and say, oh my God, you're amazing. And you get that one person that says you're annoying, your accent is annoying, I don't understand you, you're pronouncing X incorrectly. I get so much of that online.
Who cares?
Yeah,
but
it is. Yeah, it is. And it could be like for someone out there that hasn't experienced that and they
mm,
start getting it, it could really also paralyze you.
yeah,
Because what
yeah.
I've noticed, I used to be the type of person like when somebody says something that bothered them, like if they said I get anxiety attacks, I would be like, oh, just get over it. It's so easy because I don't get anxiety. And now when I get like teased online, it does bother me. I don't fight with
Mm.
people online. I don't believe in retaliation because it doesn't do anything good for your brand. So it's not. There's no point. But does it bother me? Yes, it does. And it's a lot easier, I guess, for other people to say don't worry about it. But I think many of us deal with things differently, and it does get to you. But I think one thing I have learned is that it's easier for people to say stuff online when they don't have to show their face, and you just got to push through it. And the only reason why I share that is because what I have noticed now, especially because I have so many people that follow me and talk to me on a daily basis, like 9 out of 10 people always tell me I want to do YouTube or I want to do live. I'm so scared of what people will say. And that's why I talk about it more, to be honest, because I want to make people aware, you know, you might not get the experience that I have had, that I do get people that are rude, or they make fun of you. Some are, or they try to be funny in a way, but it's not funny because it does still bothers you. But what I want to say to anyone listening that might have this issue that to them is an issue is like what you just said. You know, just do it. The more you do it, the more confident you get. And if you're providing value and if you're doing something you're passionate about, just keep going through it. It's going to happen, especially the more, what I realized, the more attention you get, or the bigger you grow, or the more things you do, the more you get it, to be quite honest. And everybody gets it in some different way, I guess, based on who they are or their personality, etc.
Yeah, 100%. And we do get affected by these things. You know, I know it's easy to say, like, oh, don't let it bother you. I remember I started doing TikTok a few months ago, and during lockdown, I was doing all these videos, like with
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
with the, you know, and all that. And I thought they were great. And then I was reposting them to Facebook, and I was really proud of them. But I have to say, I spent too much time recording these and just doing takes and takes. But anyway, um, and they were pretty good. They were quite creative. And then I get a comment from this guy who I don't even know, who was a friend
Uh-huh.
on my Facebook, this guy from Hawaii who had made like weird comments. He made a comment about my weight, saying that I looked fat in my jumpsuit. And look, I mean, I know that I'm not fat.
No, you're
Do you
not
know
at
what
all.
I
I'm looking
mean?
at you. I wish I
But
was your size.
I know that. But you know what, Nancy? I haven't posted another TikTok video. I was doing them every day. That was the last TikTok. blocked him off my Facebook because I knew he was an
Okay.
idiot.
Yeah, you know,
He was
and you need to
such,
protect your mental
yeah,
health
and I
too.
knew he was talking a load of crap, but
Hmm.
sorry for my
No,
language.
you're
Uh,
fine.
and I knew he was talking a load of rubbish, but I still haven't posted on TikTok since then. Obviously, these little comments, and people really just need to be very careful about what they say on social media.
Because if you say it to the wrong person that might be going through a lot of stuff, and then you make
Mm,
that one comment, it might take them over the edge. You don't know, your words have an impact on people. And one of Maya Angelou quotes that I absolutely love, I can't remember the exact quote right now, but it's basically people won't remember what you thought about or what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel.
mm,
I know there's people that I work with like 10 years ago that when I see them, I get a good feeling like, oh, I remember I used to work with them. I love them. And there's people that I cringe. I'm like, oh, you're so toxic. I don't want to,
mm,
don't add me as a friend. But you don't even remember why. Like, you don't remember what exactly they said that made you feel that way, but you just feel it, right? Because
mm,
people remember that. So it's so important that whatever you put online, when people are doing business or even if you don't agree with their lifestyle, even if you don't agree with whatever you're doing, I always say, people, keep it to yourself. We all have growing pains. We all have growing stages. It's not for you to judge them for whatever they're doing, especially if they're doing good, like you, like a TikTok video. But there is a lot of that out there. The more videos I put, the more content I put, the more I get it. And I have had to build, have to sit here and like built my brain. Like, mental health is so important. I never knew how important it is, especially when you are online every single day,
mm.
because I never had, even though it was 11 years of me working, I was always in the back end. I never put a picture of me. I never spoke. I never let people know that side of me. So as soon as I started doing that, floods and floods of love, and then floods of like just random hateful things, from hating to making fun of you to, even I have a video on my Instagram account, on my IGTV, that someone called me fat. I put a picture of myself and they were
Mm,
like, oh, I've been called disgusted, I've been called fat.
it's horrible.
It's just horrible, because
Mm.
that could potentially make somebody say, oh, screw this, I'm not doing this no more.
Mm.
This is not worth it.
So
It
what do
could
you?
make them stop.
Yeah, 100%. What do you do? What do you do to protect yourself against things like that? Because we know that logically, those people are just toxic and they're just idiots. But
Mhm.
like we say, these things do kind of get to you. Are
Oh,
you
it
at a
does.
stage now where you can just kind of like brush over it and you can just think, okay, this person's like a keyboard warrior, you know?
Yes and no. It depends on what they say. If it's
Mm,
like something just out of the blue, like it doesn't even make sense to what I'm saying, I don't take it personal, because I'm like, okay, you just, I don't know, talking about something else.
yeah, yeah.
But if it's like personal about me and who I am, or my accent, that's like the number one thing I get a lot. The people don't like, or they don't,
See, I
they
love
find
your
it
accent.
difficult.
It reminds me a little bit of, I don't know. I was going to say Eva Longora, but I don't know if she speaks like you. But I know she's kind of like got
Yeah, she's
that.
Hispanic. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Oh
it.
no, that's a good compliment. I wish I would look like her, but but you know, I'm not gonna say I'm completely like one of those people that really, like, my husband's like that. Like, somebody says something to him,
Mm,
he's good to go. I'm
yeah.
more emotional, so maybe that's why, I don't know. I'm not 100% there yet, but I've been like learning more about this, and like talking to other people that are bigger than me.
Mm,
And one thing that I've noticed from other people that were telling me is that the way that they protect their mental health is that they have a team, like a social media team, or someone that works for them, and they lay off of social media. So they don't go into social media until their team goes in social media. So their team will go in there, remove all the negativity,
yeah.
and then leave the positive comments, and then they respond
Mm.
to those comments.
Oh,
And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I never
that's
thought about that.
great.
So
Yeah.
I can't wait, maybe next year, that I could hire someone that could do that,
Mm,
because that's how many of them protect their energy, because a lot of them are
mm,
way bigger than me, and they all say the same thing. It could be 99 great comments, and that one comment will mess
one.
up their whole entire day.
Mm,
Or some of them even will go back and forth and they realize it's not even worth it, because there's some people that want to do that to bait you, to make you look even worse, because now you're going back and forth. So
mm,
that's one way that I hope in the future I can manage. But now what I've been doing, if I'm completely honest, what I've been doing, if I feel like it's constructive feedback, I try not to take it personal. I try to listen. I try to say, okay, I could improve in that. And I say, thank you. I'm going to work on that, because what you say is a valid point, and I could probably do that on my next video, make it better. If
mm,
it's attacking me in any way, even if it's my accent, I know it sounds dumb, but if I feel like you're making fun of me, you're attacking me, you're antagonizing me, you're making me feel stress, I just block, because that's the easiest way for me to do that, because then later on in the future I don't have to see these. I used to not block, I used to delete the comment,
mm,
and then like 3 days later the same person did 3 more posts or 3 more comments. They
mm,
don't stop for some reason, they keep coming back. So I
mm,
used to think, I used to get more stressed out now, because it's the same person. I'm like, who is this person? I don't even know who they are. Why are
mm,
they saying these mean things? So there's a reason why there's a block button.
yeah,
And
yeah.
because of the pandemic, because of everything that's going on, because of all the stress that we have at home, especially if you're not working, especially if you're trying to build a business from scratch, or you're just trying to learn, it is okay to block someone. Your health comes first before anything, not anyone else. So normally what I do now is I block people, if that's the case, because I rather do that than be so stressed out about it. And
Mm,
that's the truth there. And another thing I have learned is that a lot of platforms, I don't know if you know this, Zoe, you could put keywords in there,
mm,
like profanity. You could put like liar, you suck, anything that you think, put, like, you'll start seeing patterns of what people
mm,
say about you. You could
mm,
put those keywords there, and then if somebody says any of those, the post never comes in. That has helped me a lot too, to be honest, because I don't
yeah,
even see them come in anymore.
yeah,
So those are kind of
definitely.
like my to-go strategy, but then also
Hmm.
making sure that if it's constructive feedback, that I listen to it as well.
You talk a lot about the advantages of selling digital products. And why is that
Hmm.
so important? And why do you think people should focus on that?
Well, digital products are great because, especially for passive income, and
Mm,
especially now, because
mm,
for a while, like the UPS and shipping was like a nightmare. I think a lot of people are still dealing with that because of the pandemic.
yeah.
A lot of people getting laid off. So if you do print on demand or stuff like that, that you have to wait for another company to ship out your product, and
Mm,
they let go half of their staff, it's like a delay on everything out there. So
mm,
the cool thing about digital products is that once you create that one product, you could sell over and over and over. It has low cost overhead. You don't
mm,
have to have boxes of inventory in your home.
mm,
um, so majority of digital products are very easy to get started, very low cost effective, like I just mentioned. And in addition to that, because of the pandemic, they have become even more popular now. It's a
mm,
really great way to make passive income. And I always tell people that want to maybe in the future sell physical products, you could always start, like for me, I have a wedding store. You could always start selling digital products for wedding or for events or whatever type of
mm,
digital product you want, planners, financial planners, whatever you want. You could start doing that. And once the pandemic is back to as normal as we ever going to get, and things are back to kind of normal, you could start selling them as printed as well as a physical product. So you could transition from digital to physical if you want to do that. You might not want to do that later because it's just the convenience of there's no shipping, there's no labels. You don't have
mm,
to worry about the package getting lost or tracking it or putting insurance. It's such an easy way to do a business. I think it's one of the cheapest, most affordable businesses that you could do, that even if it doesn't work out for you, you won't lose a lot of money, in my opinion. And
mm,
I love digital products. I mean, my course is a digital product, you could say as well. You create
mm.
it once. Yeah, I'm gonna have to
100%.
retune it and,
Mm,
edit videos and add more stuff to it. But you sell it once. I could sell 20 today if I could, right? And I don't have to really do anything else besides customer service, stay on top of my Facebook group, etc.
I think
So
what's
digital products are amazing.
I think what's happened with the climate recently with Corona, um, has it sounds you know, that's when you did really well with your course. But I know you just went all in with it as well.
And that
But
too. Hmm.
but I think because of the climate, people more than ever are realizing to have a passive income stream.
The good thing about digital products is that even though I'm an Etsy coach and the product that I sell is geared towards Etsy, once you learn how to make digital products, you could sell it on Etsy, you could sell it on Amazon, you could do an eBay store, you could have your own website where you sell digital products. You could sell it anywhere. So it's not
Right.
necessarily
So
just on one
you could,
platform. On Etsy. Etsy is a marketplace where you can sell handmade items. So
yeah.
whether it's a physical product
Mm,
or a digital product, is still considered a handmade item because you make the item
yeah.
as long as it's not a service. So you
Um,
can't do virtual assistant, that's a service. But if you create a sign, like a
mm,
let's say you create a wedding sign for someone,
mm,
that's a handmade product.
okay.
And that's mhm.
What's your wedding business on Etsy? What do you sell in relation
I
to that?
saw everything. Now this year, my wedding
Hmm.
stores didn't do that great because of the pandemic. It did
Yeah.
take a hard hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that sense, it didn't do well. However, my wedding store, that's the reason why I started doing weddings, is because I went from quotes and then I
Mm,
got all those infringements that I was telling you.
mm,
So then I switched and I was like, well, I'm gonna do like weddings because I'm not gonna get any infringement on that. So I did weddings. So I sell wedding signs, table numbers, thank you tags, regular like wedding signs like welcome to our wedding, Jennifer and Matt, like those big signs that you put in front of the, like when people walking into your banquet.
mm,
I sell anything and everything. I can't even think. Banners for weddings, like where people take pictures. And these are
mm.
all digital products. I don't ship anything out. I create the product. I do a mock-up, right? So I create a
Yeah.
mock-up of how
Yeah.
the sign would look. You order the sign. You give me your information. So Zoe and Matt are getting married May 2021. You give me the information. I edit the information. I save the file as a JPEG and a PDF. Well, first I send you the proof. You say, "Oh, perfect. It looks great. My name looks great. My husband's name looks great." Blah blah blah. Once they approve it, I save the file as a JPEG and PDF, and I send them through an email the files. They download the file, they save it on a hard drive or a thumb drive. They take it to whatever printing service, depending on the location. Kinko's, FedEx, Costco, wherever you are in the world. That's another thing about digital products. You could sell to anyone around the world. When
Mm.
you sell physical products, you have to consider, it's a good thing to sell to someone in Dubai, so the shipping is going to cost an arm and a leg. Or you say, good to sell to someone in Brazil. You know what I mean? Like you have to really figure that out.
And that was
Digital
gonna,
products doesn't matter.
yeah, that was one of my questions to you
Hmm.
about, you know, is Etsy good for people selling internationally? Like,
It depends on your product, to be honest. If you have
yeah.
a high ticket product
Mm,
that you could still, one, pay yourself, two, charge for the time that you created the item, and three, still have profit left after you paid yourself and you calculate your materials
mm,
and the cost, then it is a good one. But if you are not paying yourself, you're
mm,
not calculating your material and your costs, like shipping, everything that it
excuse
took
me.
to do
Mm,
that, and you don't
yeah.
have money on the side profit. Profit is not how you pay yourself because you already calculated that in your pay. Profit
Mm,
is the leftover money that you get to put back into your business. A lot of people do it the wrong way. They don't even calculate, you know, they just say, okay, I think I'm gonna sell this for $10, but they don't calculate their own pay, what they should be paying themselves hourly or half an hour if it took you, whatever. But
mm,
if you're making enough money still left with profit, then yeah, shipping is fine. Even if you ship internationally somewhere far. But there are stuff that maybe you sell for, I don't know, $9.99 that might not be worth selling there because, or selling, you could do local maybe, but if you send it somewhere else, it might cost you more in shipping than you made. So you
mm.
gotta play it by what you sell. Some people do really well because they have high ticket items. Other people just do like US or UK only or wherever they at because it's just too costly to ship outside of that.
Yeah. See, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and definitely giving us a lot of value today. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast today. Where can people find you?
I think the best place is just heading over to my blog, nancybadillo.com. And I have all my services there. I have my contact information. If any of your listeners want to get started on Etsy, I have a lot of free information as well. I provide so much free information on my blog, and you'll be able to find my YouTube channel there as well.